Welcome to What the Freak. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Excited for another episode. Today, I have my friend Mandi here, who is most well known perhaps around town for her incredible cupcakes and other amazing vegan baked desserts. I met Mandi through Freak Brothers because we wanted more vegan treats at our shop, and we had met each other at some vegan events. Was it like probably Zen Nights that we first met, or I'm trying to think.
It might have been Zen Nights, or it might have been the second ever Phoenix Vegan Food Festival, which was the first one I ever did.
Okay.
I know we were both there.
Yeah. Totally. That was when it was like crazy.
That one was kind of wild. That was my first ever event a few months into my business, and I ran out of everything by like 1 p.m. I had no idea. I was so underprepared. I didn't know no one else in town was doing vegan desserts like that.
I think pretty much everybody ran out of food at that event except for us and like Simon's Hot Dogs or something.
Oh, really?
And we had crazy lines just the whole time.
I bet.
It was nuts.
But yes, so we might have met at Zen Nights right after that, because she started that festival or that event, that block party, that spring, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so long ago. 5 years ago.
Wild.
It's like multiple lifetimes ago.
It is, and then you put the whole pandemic in the middle of it, and you're like, it feels so long ago.
Yeah.
Because there was that weird pause-ish on those types of things for a while, and yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so Mandi, her business is called Positively Frosted, which I just love that name still to this day.
Thank you.
Your famous cupcake that we carry that was been our bestseller is the churro cupcake, which people go wild for. They're like, wait, I love churros and I love cupcakes. A churro cupcake? Like, I have to have it.
Yeah.
So that is our connection, is through amazing vegan food and also business. And I'm excited to drop in with you a little bit more about business, because I know a significant moment in your life recently is that you decided to take the leap and go full time with your baking that you've been doing for quite some time now. So I'm definitely curious to hear more about that. But before we dive into that, I'd love to, if you just have a little bit more to share about who you are. You know, obviously the baking is a big piece of it, but even beyond that, I know you also have a podcast that I had the pleasure of joining you on. So I'd love to hear just a little more about who you are and what you do.
Sure. I am Mandi, like Nathan said in that gracious intro. I own Positively Frosted, which is currently a home-based baking business, all vegan here in Phoenix, Metro Phoenix area. I'm based out of Scottsdale. I do pop-ups. Nathan carries my cupcakes at Freak Brothers. I am looking into potentially some other wholesale, but not pushing too hard into that side of the business, because I really enjoy making custom works of art, celebration cakes, wedding cakes, showers, birthdays. I like being able to mix it up and do new things, and doing 30 dozen of the same 3 or 4 things every week isn't necessarily exciting to my brain. And as you alluded to, I left my day job recently that I'd had for 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I had different positions, and I moved up the ladder quite a bit there, but part of what I was over in that particular industry and job position was just sort of the monotony of it all. Like, even though it's a little bit of a box of chocolates, as Forrest Gump might say, like every day you kind of don't know what you're going to get, but there's these 12 things and you're going to get one of them at least. So I just was looking for something a little different, and I like that the cake business provides me that. People's tastes are changing, and designs change, and the looks of what people want change, and I get to invent new flavors and combinations and just kind of explore that creative outlet. So I also have a podcast, Woman Get In, with my partner Miley, and we do that on the side. We release 1 episode a week. We're sort of, our mission would be to inspire, co-create, empower women to, and anyone who listens. Honestly, 25% of our audience is male.
Oh, nice.
And we get a lot of feedback from guys, which I think is great. I'm like, if women are telling you what we're into, what we love, what we appreciate, what inspires us, I think it's great that men listen and We appreciate them. But really empower people to...
Smart men, really.
Yeah, honestly, right? Like, don't get stuck in your own little silo, guys. We just want to empower people to really kind of make the most of their life, live it sort of fully and realized, I guess. Sort of pay attention to all these different things that might call to you and explore them and be curious.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, especially that last word, curious. I feel like that is cornerstone of my personal life philosophy and of this podcast, which is why I made the name of this podcast a question.
Oh.
Because what the freak?
Yeah.
What the freak's going on in your life, in the world. It's just like a exploration, and like curiosity really drives me and drives these kind of conversations that we're having.
Yes. It's one of my favorite words. We mentioned it a lot on an episode we recorded this week in regards, gosh, which one did we record this week? It was about emotional intelligence. Really focusing on that and how a lot of it involves just getting curious about yourself. It's kind of where it all starts. Figuring out you so that you can better be in tune to other people.
I love that.
Thanks. It's really fun. We have a great time with the podcast.
I mean, I will vouch for that. I had a great time coming on your podcast. It was really fun.
We have a lot of fun. We always have a lot of laughs. There's always something silly happening, but we get some really great conversations out of it. We haven't done a lot of interviews in this season. The season you were on, our first season, we were the Main Dish podcast. But
yep, I remember it's a bit of a different name.
Everything is now under Women Get In to sort of, and it's more of an exclamation, like your podcast is a question, like what's happening out there? Ours is much more exclamation, like let's go, just start, come on, we're going, get in. Like no more thinking about it, let's go.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so it's like get in, come with us. We want to go places. We want you to join us. We want to co-create and like just, bring each other up. There's so much. There's abundance. There's so much out there to be had. Everybody should grab a piece of it. Whatever it is you want.
Yeah. Oof. I love that. I think that we need more of that kind of energy in the world, really.
Yeah, there's definitely enough for everyone. And it's funny how I definitely didn't grow up in a space where that mindset was encouraged or even owned by adults around me. But it's really interesting to take that mindset on, like as you kind of go down this recovery of your childhood as you sort of start to come out of some of the bad behaviors you've learned and et cetera, adopting that abundance mindset, adopting the mindset that just because someone else is winning doesn't mean I'm losing.
Yeah. That's so important. I love that.
It's
really, if you think someone else is losing, you're both losing.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just it also feels so nice to just be excited for people who are winning. Like how much? Like I just think about it in the reverse. I guess like if I shared good news with someone, I would want to congratulations, great job, look at you go. And so obviously I want to give that back. Like I try to put out there the energy that I want back and just generally to see more of.
Yeah. There's actually a term that I learned a few years back that kind of describes what you're talking about, and the term is called compersion.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that
No.
term? So I initially learned it in the realm of like alternative relationships. It's like a term used in kind of the polyamory community. It basically means I feel good when somebody else feels good.
Okay.
That's kind of its basic meaning. It doesn't have to apply to relationships.
Sure.
It's just in general, it's like I feel good when you feel good, which I think is an amazing concept.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the opposite of jealousy.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Compersion. I like that. Nice. Yeah. That's. How do you not feel good when someone else feels good? Like, there's something to explore there if you feel bad when other people are experiencing joy.
Yeah.
Something to dig into there and figure out I would be so bold to say, like, there might be something off with your wiring. You might want to take that into the shop and get it fixed.
Yeah. It's maybe some people, and I'll say this because I feel like I've had this experience before. They just don't realize that that's even possible.
Yes.
Like we're just so taught to feel jealous or to feel some kind of negative way towards someone when they're experiencing success.
Yeah.
And now we're projecting something upon them and we're feeling bad about it. But
Yeah.
I love the mindset of, yeah, when someone else is winning, that's great. Let me celebrate them.
Yes.
And know that, like, I heard someone say once, it's like when I see someone winning, it's like, and they're in my circle, it's like I get so excited because I'm next.
Right. Oh, that's
it's
good.
like what's coming for me next. It's like, wow, the people around me are winning. It's like only a matter of time before I'm gonna hit my next win.
Yeah.
Which I love that mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think there's any, and we're in a capitalist society, and you're taught to be competitive from a very young age. And I think competition is good. I think getting feedback is necessary to growth in a lot of regards. Like, you have to put things out there. You have to see what works. You have to see what doesn't. You have to lose. You have to win you have to lose to appreciate the wins. But I think that competitive thing can just go too far in a lot of aspects when it comes to how you feel about other people's winning. Like, you're really, I'm competing with me. I just want to be better than yesterday. I want to do better than last year, etc. Like,
yeah, that to me is like the essence of healthy competition. It's like I'm competing against myself and who I was yesterday, and I'm competing to become better. And as I become better, hopefully I can inspire and elevate other people to do the same thing for themselves. Yeah. But when we take winning to the extreme of, I'm winning and you're losing, or I'm winning and you're going to lose, it's like, it just doesn't feel great for anyone, really.
Right.
Maybe temporarily for your ego that feels good, like I beat you, but it's like, really? Like, are we seriously in second grade still? Like,
yeah, right. It's in a foot race across the recess yard or something. That's funny. Like, even when I see businesses go out of town that I don't know the owners of these food businesses, like, I think my heart is so into the food community here in Phoenix in general that when I see a business go out of town or a restaurant shut down, I'm like, oh, bummer. Especially when it's a vegan business. I'm like, oh, that's a real, even if it's in my industry, like another home-based baker just kind of they decided they were done recently. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Because when I'm not available, or when like one of us gets maybe a call for something that they don't do, we get to refer to the other person. There's someone else in town to do it. So it just stinks when there's a resource that disappears.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I always wish the best for other businesses. And, I think along with that, my other intention and prayer is that, those who are serving their community the most thrive the most. That's like my intention. As much as I never wish failure upon anyone, I do believe there are some components of our business culture that are not as supportive than others. I think there are certain principles and values and ways of doing business that are more wholly elevating to our communities, to people, to our environment. And those are the businesses I most want to see succeed.
Sure.
And businesses who are not really practicing those things, my first wish for them is to evolve how they're doing things. My second wish is, if you're really that resistant and you're so committed to these kind of old ways of doing things that we more and more know are harmful in certain ways, it's like, at that point, I do kind of wish that business would go out of business. Not that I wish anything ill against that person, but it's like, I really do, at least for me, I see a responsibility I have as a business owner to continue to evolve myself and my business to better and better serve our community, the world, the planet, that kind of thing. And those are the people that I just pour most of my energy into, and the businesses and the owners I pour my energy into is those business owners and those businesses who I see doing that. I don't discourage or have any ill feelings towards people who are not really doing that as much, but I'm not going to like give them my time, attention, and energy. Right. I still wish them well, but it's like, man, you gotta, with the limited time and resources and everything we have, it's like you got to pour your energy into that which you most believe in.
Oh, yeah.
And that's different for everyone. I'm not saying I'm right about what I believe. I'm going to invest in that which I want to see more of in the world.
I totally agree. I get that. I've definitely seen businesses practicing and doing things, whether it's with their people, their product, what they're putting out into like the environment, their impact, their footprint. And I'm like, ooh, okay, that's all right. And just sort of, okay, I'm going to go this way. Good luck. Like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of business, I would love to just hear a little bit more about what this journey has been for you since you started your business, and then this recent evolution of deciding to quit your day job and go full time with it. Like, what's that experience been like for you? What's been great about it? What's been challenging? Just anything you want to share about it?
Harrowing. I mean, challenging, yeah, all of the time. Every day there seems to be something different, whether it's a client challenge or just, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? Because, when you start a business, if you start a business all by yourself and you've never owned a business before, you are thrown into the deep end just figuring things out. And thankfully, there are lots of resources, lots of people. Like, I was very lucky, I feel, very early on to meet people like yourself, to meet, Nadia, who was running Zen Nights, and just meet other people who had a similar vision and be connected to a lot of people pretty quickly, like within 6 months of starting this. So there's just a lot going on. It's like every new thing is a trial by fire. It's like the Phoenix Vegan Food Fest. I was like, I don't know, probably 10 dozen things. That seems like a lot of treats to take to somewhere, right? Gone, like immediately, overwhelmed, tons of people just piling at you, people trying to buy your samples, like, wow, okay, I was underprepared. Like, that's just little things you learn. Then you learn about how much I was or wasn't prepared. I learn about things I want to know from event organizers. Doing a handful of different events and pop-ups, and you learn about the things you need to be asking ahead of time, things, just something new every single time. Positioning at the event, where am I? Am I for desserts? Am I shaded? Am I not shaded? Like, what are the rules? What are the restrictions? What's the flow like? Every single day, every single event is learning something different. You're learning how to do inventory. You're learning how to do bookkeeping. I'm a CPA. You're CEO, CFO, COO.
Wearing all the hats.
Doing everything all at once, at least a lot of the time in the beginning. And then you start to outsource some things and you get some systems in place and you get a flow, and doing it while working full time at a dental clinic. I was probably, 5 years ago, I was managing the dental clinic at that point. And pretty big operation. I think we had 24 operatories. We had, I forget how many residents, somewhere between 12. Now we have 14 plus dental students. So it's at one of the universities here in town.
Wow.
And just running a 24-chair dental clinic with staff of about 20 reporting to me, plus 20-ish faculty members, and just kind of doing all of that in my day job and still really wanting to do a good job and make it successful, like turn it into something that I know will operate without me and everybody understands what to do even if I'm not there, like constantly impressing on them, like, well, what do you think we should do? Like helping them think through things so that when I'm busy doing other things, I'm in a meeting, with other higher level deans and whatnot, they run into a bump, they can continue to move forward throughout their day and they don't panic and need to find one person to solve all their problems. So growing that clinic while doing this at night and on the weekends was definitely an experience. It was, wow. I mean, working 50 hours a week, probably a lot of times in the day job, and then, gosh, anywhere from 20 to 30 the rest of the time in the baking business.
Yeah.
I was looking back recently because it was tax season. So I was looking back at recent years when I was really busy and I didn't really put a stop or a funnel on anything. I just sort of did it as much as I could. And I was like, wow, these numbers explain why I was so burned out. like the last 2 years I did, and plus pandemic slowed that down a little bit too with the lack of events and things. But the last 2 years I really put a funnel on things and just like, I need to be careful about how much I do. I just don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be up all night every night.
Yep.
I want to sleep. I want to cook and eat a dinner every now and then. Like, I need to take care of me a bit more. I've been really focused for the last year on getting at least 7 hours of sleep. If I can get 7.5, I'm so happy. But for years there, I was getting, somewhere between 5.5 and 6.5, probably averaging 6 hours for 2 years.
Wow.
And it really started to wear me down. Right before COVID hit, I was thinking of leaving my day job that year. And then COVID hit and all the restaurants, all the food businesses, everything kind of went into a pause. There weren't any bars, everything was takeout. And I'm like, well, this might not be the best time to take the leap. I think I'll continue taking my salary from my cushy day job and see how this plays out. And so that's kind of what kept me honestly working a day job 2 years longer than I really thought I was going to, or maybe a year and a half longer than I anticipated, was just seeing how that all shook out, because the food industry took a really big hit. A lot of places closed, a lot of employees left and never came back. So even just watching that over the last year, as restaurants have struggled, and food businesses in general have struggled to keep employees and keep a staff, even when it appears on the outside that they pay a decent wage and they offer benefits, it's just a lot of people didn't want to return to that industry. And it's definitely gave me pause, thinking, is this a headache I want to deal with? Do I want to always be looking to hire people? We did that even at my day job. I had probably 2 to 3 spots open. I had a big team. I had 16 dental assistants. So 2 to 3 spots were open almost all of the time for about 2 years.
Wow.
It seemed like every time we would fill 1 or 2, another 1 or 2 would trickle out. And a lot of times they were going back to school, or they had had a baby, and, good reasons, or they moved up into a residency program, like good things. But, oh my gosh, it was just constant. And I'm like, do I want to keep doing this? How do I feel about this? But again, the day job just got to me to a point where I was not excited about it anymore. I dreaded it more than I didn't. And I was like, I want to get out before I let myself get to a place that is really disgruntled about it, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It's like, I just need to leave now while I'm still sane and I can hand it off peacefully, versus not. Versus being like, fuck this, I'm out. Don't talk to me ever again.
Yep, totally.
So that's been fun. That's only been the last couple of months. So it's been an interesting transition into just me.
Yeah, so what's your life been like the last couple of months? Did you just replace all those hours with more baking, or have you been able to take a little more time for yourself to do other things? What's that transition been like?
I'm still working on that. I think in the beginning I was almost having this rubber band rebound type of feeling where I didn't want to put anything in my schedule, because I was my Google calendars, I had 3 or 4 Google calendars. I think I still have 3. But it's like a personal life one. There's a podcast calendar, and then there's the baking calendar. And then at the time, I also had the day job calendar. So I was so used to having my days like bam, 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 bam. Everything's scheduled. It's like this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And then, I'm going to pack in here a 20-minute trip to the grocery store and 20 minutes to cook something. And I would have to schedule those things in because there was so much. I sort of had this rebound where I just didn't want to put anything into my schedule. I'm like, no, everything stop.
Yes.
No more. And then I was like, what do I do with all this free time? And I just kind of I didn't do a lot of anything. I baked and I was still busy doing all those things, but I just kind of let myself be for a little while. And I don't know, just took a lot of time to come down from it all. Being busy, that addiction of being kind of always busy. And then when nothing was there, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I need to do, and then, now the last month I've been, all right, filling my schedule back up, not to the point where it was, but I also started dating somebody a few months ago. So working in really consciously things with that person and making conscious time. In the beginning, it was like, no, we really need to figure out what we're doing. I need to put something on the books with you because my schedule is so crazy. And now that it's opened up more, it's been nice because I can sure, all Friday night, open.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's been nice.
Wow.
I've been cooking a lot more, which has been really fun. Just eating like real meals, not eating food on the go in the car, or like a handful of almonds is not a meal.
Does not count.
I know, right? Like 200 calories, this should be fine. So actually eating like intake of water and, getting back to a little bit of a workout routine has been nice. It's all been good. And I'm still working on getting it up to where I really want it to be. And have more time for the podcast, and I'm trying to figure out how to make a little bit more dedicated time in my schedule for that, because we want to take that up a notch too, and maybe start making a little bit of ad money off of it.
Yeah.
Getting paid a little bit of something for a podcast would be nice.
How many episodes do you have now?
Ooh, good question. The first season was 40, and we've been back for probably about 6 months at this point, so we probably have between 60 and 65.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
That's amazing.
We love it. I mean, we do it even though we don't get paid. I think that's a good indicator that you're doing something you like.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, same here. You know, I'm paying to do this podcast because I'm paying someone to edit it.
Yes.
I have lost money on this endeavor. I consistently lose money on this endeavor, and I love it, and it's totally worth it.
Yeah. That's a good sign, right? When you're doing something regardless of the pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So did I answer the question about the whole journey?
Yes, you did. No, and I want to say I loved your answer.
Okay.
Because I have experienced something similar as well, where I, for a number of years of my business, was similar to you, where it's just like, if I was awake, I was in some way either working in my business or doing some other essential thing to keep myself alive and sane to some degree. That didn't always happen, actually. But it just back to back to back. It's just like every single day was just like so full. Yeah. And I just like never had a chance to rest. And I just ran into burnout just consistently. And the last couple of years, I mean, pandemic kind of threw a whole wrench in everything too. Like a little bit before that, I had started making some space to actually give myself a little bit of time for once. And then the pandemic hit, and now I'm back working 24 hours a day. I'm in the shop all day and doing everything I can to keep this business alive. And over the last 6 months to a year, I've found a way to make to insert myself in the right ways in my business, that I'm more and more playing from my greatest strengths and able to enjoy most of what I'm doing there. I still have to do things that I don't want to do, but it's okay, because I have a much better harmony in my life now. I actually spend time with friends and time for myself, and don't have to I could take an hour to wake up a lot of days now, and that's great.
Oh my gosh, I've been doing that too.
I don't be right out of bed and get right to something,
Yeah, it's and dreading the thing you're doing, right? Getting right out of bed to go into something that you're grumbly about.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely relate, and I support you in taking as much time as you need to decompress from years worth of just compressed experience. It's not to even put any type of judgment, but you're just a compressed experience. There's just so much happening that it's our society is almost not built for us to typically take the amount of time we actually need to just be and be with ourselves and relax. And I'm more and more learning the importance of that. Yeah. And the wild part is I feel the more I've actually been able to do that for myself, the more effective I am in my business, and actually the better things are going and the faster things are moving and the more success we're having, even though I'm not hardcore just every single hour working on it. Maybe that was necessary for a while, but at this point I'm I can actually breathe a little bit more, and actually that's a good thing. Yeah. And me taking care of myself allows me to better show up to what I'm doing, and that's beautiful. So it's just really fun to hear the process you're going through. And I recently started doing a little bit of dating as well, and it's been really awesome to have the availability and time to do that for where I really didn't have the capacity for that for a number of years. I just didn't even have space for it, even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's like I try here and there, but it's like, all right, here's my one time this week that we can do something, and it's this couple of hours, and it's like, that's no space to like really get to know someone in the way that they deserve. So that's really awesome to hear that you have that space to explore that more.
Thanks. I'd been working on creating the space for dating for a while, and I think a lot of things were at play. Like I just hadn't met the person who was going to instigate me to really create the space, like to really slow down and put things in a direction of a relationship. I think sometimes there's probably a lot of time I needed to be on the hamster wheel. I'm sure there's a lot of subconscious distraction technique with making myself so busy, sort of an avoidant way of not being able to be in a relationship, even, you know what I mean? So I think there was like a little bit of that at play, but it was getting out of that old habit for me of making myself so busy to the point that I couldn't be available. So I had to, there was just a lot of stuff. And like, I think it all just happens at the time it's supposed to. And when you're really ready, if you're listening, you will know. Like your body will keep, like your mind will keep telling you to go in this direction. Like I did not want to get back in online dating. I dabbled in and on and off for a couple of years, and I'm like, ugh. You know, I had the same complaints everybody else did. Even though online dating, not any different from going out to a bar or going somewhere and looking for a date. Like there's 100 and 200, 300 people in this room, and I don't know, I might find one of them remotely interesting. Like you might talk to 10 guys that night and have a chat and this and that, and then you're going to wander off and never talk to that person again. Same thing happens in chats and dates. You chat for a little while and you just wander off and never have to talk to them again. It's the same thing that happens in real life.
So you're saying ghosting isn't a new thing?
It's not. We just used to do it face to face and no one cared. For some reason, it feels more personal when it's
now
like.
We're so offended.
Yeah. For some reason, it's so personal when like, who cares? I talked to this person. We had 16 messages that went back and forth, and it was about literally nothing. Like, what do I care? Like, move on.
I love that.
I'm like, this is the same thing that's been happening. I used to do it all the time in the bar. Like somebody comes up, talks to you, talk to them, blah, blah, blah. You're like, great, I'm going to go talk with my friends. And you just never talk to that person again the rest of the night. No one cared.
Yep.
No one was mad.
Yep.
But I didn't want to get back into online dating this last like fall, I would say. I'd been feeling like I wanted to. Like something kept telling me to sign up again. I was like, no. It's such a waste. It's the world's opening. I'll find someone in the wild. And it was around November or so, that like the end of November. And I was like, I could not shut off the noise in my head that was like, just sign up. One app, whichever one you choose, just sign up for something and see what happens. I signed up for literally one dating app. And within probably 2 weeks, I talked to maybe a couple of people, but there was one guy and we just had a little bit of chats, not very much. And I'm like, so like it was, we were both from Michigan. So I was like, that's interesting. He's good looking. Like, I'm curious to know more. And it wasn't like busy in the chat. Like we weren't back and forth. We went back and forth a couple of times over a couple of days. And I just was like, hey, are you interested in chatting in real life? Like, this is kind of a weird way to get to know anybody anyways. Are you interested in getting together or not?
Yes.
What are we doing here?
Yes, I love that.
And he was like, sure. So we booked a date within a week, and like best first date I ever went on. And we've almost been inseparable ever since.
Wow.
But not to say that it's been without lots of growing and learning and figuring each other out and all that fun shit. But
sure,
it's been really cool, like meeting somebody who's really curious about how you operate and also really willing to evaluate how they operate and how you can fit better with each other and tweak and adjust your communication styles, and just really open and willing to chat about anything. Very different from me, not a vegan, but has become so incredibly plant-based in the last few months. Always willing to go to any vegan restaurant with me, eat anything I make, cook me vegan food, the whole nine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's been really fun.
Congratulations. That's
Thanks.
amazing.
Thanks.
I'm glad that you found such a resonant soul to connect with.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
To grow with and get to know.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So yeah, I think in the end, when you know, and when you'll just not be able to shut off that voice that says it's time to explore this side of you and stop avoiding it. And I could not get away from that voice that was telling me to like, go back out there. Try dating.
And so was that like right around the time that you were getting ready to make the transition?
Yeah, that too. I had been planning to leave my day job for a bit. Since late last year, probably since the last quarter of 2021.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to leave. I'm trying to decide when I want to leave.
So you kind of like made the decision, maybe hadn't worked out all the details yet or the specifics, but you'd kind of chosen, okay, it's like I'm on my way out now.
Yeah, I had about a 4-month in my mind, about a 4-month head start on, I know I'm leaving. I did not.
4-month runway.
Yeah. And sort of like trying to gear things up. And then what I didn't know was that my administrative assistant was also going to leave a month before me. So that made my last month there really challenging because I was short an assistant and trying to help cover part of her job as much as I could. And so it made my last month there very hairy. And when I left, we still hadn't filled her spot. Obviously, there was no recruitment for my job yet. And so I stayed on part-time remotely, and I'm trickling out. Like, I'm barely doing anything with them these days, but I stayed on part-time to kind of help them just keep the wheels going. I'm like, I can help part-time. I cannot work full-time. I don't even know if I can give you 20 hours a week. My brain is so spent. I can't. I need a reset. I need time away.
Wow.
And I'd been helping them out a little bit, but they're recruiting, and I think all the positions will be full next week. So I've just been, it's been nice that they actually let me stay on because historically, they've never let any position stay around to train the next position. So I think it's been really helpful for my replacement. And me knowing I'm able to actually give correct information to somebody and they don't have to work backwards from, the data that I had sitting in our Google Drives to try to figure everything out on their own.
Sure.
I've just been sort of helping them transition into their new team. And I had like a 4 to 6 month runway, probably about the same 4 months that I was like, I want to get back into dating, but I don't think I want to do it that way. I want to get out of this day job. How am I going to do this? I kept the Kid Leroy has this song called I'm Done or Just Done, whatever it is. And that was in my head so often at that job.
It's like your anthem.
Yes, exactly. Like baseball players have a walk-up song. I was like, I have a walk-out song. I have a goodbye song all lined up. I'm ready. Let's go. Yeah, like no regrets. Not 1 minute have I missed going into that day job. I've never thought I made the wrong decision. I have, nothing. Because, even if I left and did this venture full-time for X number of years with the baking business and decided I didn't want to do it anymore, I can always go back to a day job. And nothing of it, I don't consider any of it a failure. I consider it, I'm my greatest experiment, and this is what I want to do right now. This is what I want to see what happens. It's like when I moved across the country from Michigan to Arizona by myself, knowing no one here. I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is just what my soul tells me to do.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Oof.
That's, like, you all can be scared you can be scared of it. Like everyone else, people that are like, you're going to do that all by yourself as a woman. Like I went to Italy for 8 days on my own on vacation. They're like, you're going to go all by yourself? I'm like, yeah. I'm pretty sure I can be safe. I have no questions about getting around by myself safely. I know how to navigate trains and planes and airports. Like, I'm good. Other people's fears are theirs, and you don't have to adopt them as your own. Like, it's like when you're starting a business, a lot of people will have fears around that, and they'll be like, are you sure you really want to do this? Do you really want to go into this? This is going to be hard. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And that comes from a place of caring, but those are their fears and they're not my reality. So I'm just going to go out there and see what happens in real life when I put all this to the test.
Wow. Yeah, what I love most about what you're talking about, what I'm hearing and what I'm receiving from that is just like the power of saying yes to your soul, like the power of saying yes to what you know to be true for yourself, and how I feel like the universe rewards that so greatly, and just like brings people and opportunities into your life. Like the more that I can stand firm in my truth of like what I know to be true for me, the universe adjusts around me when I do that. But it's like, it's going to keep testing me. It's like, are you sure? Do you want to do this? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, put all these things on me. And I'm like, no, those aren't mine, actually. Like, yes, I actually am certain about this. Yes, this is my truth. I'm clear about that. And I'm willing to stand for that.
Yeah.
And then it's amazing what happens when I do that. Like, so many good things come into my life when I'm able to hold strong to that, especially when I'm really pressured or tested by external circumstances or people who just don't understand me or my vision or like what I'm here to do and what's right for me. So I just really want to commend you for listening to that inner voice and saying yes to that and choosing that. And it's really powerful, and I think inspiring to those who may have a more difficult time doing that. Based on, however they grew up and what they were taught. So like you kind of overcoming that for yourself when maybe you didn't have that type of encouragement or support growing up is like just even more powerful to be like, yo, like I can do this, like you can too. So that's kind of like the energy I felt when you're talking about your podcast too, of like, hey, like I can do this, we can do this, like you can too. Like don't make excuses, like really honor yourself and like choose this for yourself.
Yeah, that's what we say, things like that all the time. We're like, if we're doing it, anyone can do it. We all have talents and we all have skills, and like hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. You know what I mean? You can be born with the talents, but if you're not applying them and putting them out there, then you're not going to get anywhere. But if you're a hustler and you're going to put some time and energy into the things that you have some talent at, you can really go out there and win. And whatever winning means to you, it doesn't have to necessarily be monetary winnings. It could be anything, like just feeling fulfilled and waking up every day and taking 45 minutes to an hour to get out of bed. Like that's a win for me.
Yeah, you're time wealthy at
that
point.
Exactly. And time is my number one resource. Like time is like my most valuable resource. It's the only thing I'll never get back. Like it's absolute. This moment will only happen right now. Today will only happen today. I get a shot at tomorrow to fix the shit I didn't get right today, but I'm never going to get today again. So in the days where I've gone by and maybe like I rarely consider a day a loss, so to speak, like regardless of how much I'm constructive, like how much I actually get done in the day. But there's always something to be learned and sort of reflect on the day about. Like maybe I didn't get a whole lot done in the business this day, but I did get a lot of me time, and I got to reset. I got to cook dinner. I made breakfast. I made myself 2 meals today.
Yes.
Just small, simple things that I didn't always have or make the time for. I can take. I just don't take for granted. I have a lot of gratitude for just little things. And yeah, waking up at 7 every morning versus 6 or 6:30 to an alarm clock screaming at me to get up and get in the shower and make this 20-mile commute. Like I have zero regrets about letting that go, regardless of a nice salary and no worries about paying your bills and healthcare and all this stuff. Like it's fine. I don't know. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go for it.
Yeah. I'm not sure that the entrepreneur lifestyle is for everyone. I don't think it is.
It's not. No, I agree.
And it's always inspiring to me when someone who can feel that calling and answer that call, like it's just so inspiring talking to someone who's choosing that for themselves, because even if this path calls you, like it's still not easy. It's far from that. And I think some people are more built for that. And I think we have an opportunity as like business owners to inspire people to do things that maybe they didn't think they could do. Because like if you're anything like me, like I had no idea what I was doing when I started. Literally none, like zero idea on how to do it right. I mean, I even went to business school, right? Like I have a marketing degree, honors college, all of that. And I started from scratch. Like that stuff, the theory, sure, to a degree, it built a foundation and an understanding. But when it comes to actually doing the thing, almost nothing applied. Like I had to figure it all out myself. I had to learn how to build relationships, build systems, figure out all the ins and outs of my industry and the business and our specific product and our experience. It's like all of that had to be built from scratch. And especially for me, it's like I'm not just going to take somebody else's thing and copy it over here and slap a different label on it. It's like I'm going to learn from everyone, but this is my thing and I have to do it in my way, so it's an authentic expression of who I am.
Yeah, I agree. Like just the things they teach us in school, that some of the stuff you learn in school is helpful and useful and builds a foundation, but I just think to go out into the real world, there's so many things that are missing from a general education, like how to, do your own finances, how to actually save money and budget and things that translate then into a business if you decide to go into a business, or just translate into adulthood. How do you go from childhood to adulthood? Has anyone successfully done that? Could you let me know?
I think we missed the curriculum on that one.
I'm asking for a friend. But yeah, entrepreneur life is hard and it's not for everyone. And a lot of times the internet can make it look really sexy and really fun and so free, and you have all this time to do all this stuff, and it's like, I'm here to tell you, you don't have as much time as you think you do. You need to be really careful about the things you let into your time and how you decide to spend it, because it is a currency, and you can't bank it for later. It's only now. So be really cautious about your time if you decide to go into entrepreneur. And if you the internet just makes it look wild and like fun and jets and money and cash and time and all. Like you can just fly around the world on vacation all of the time and your business will be just fine. And it's like, no, not if you're in a product-based business. That's just not how that always works. Like I'm not Sprinkles. Like I don't have all these franchisees like running stores for me. Like it's me, it's you. It takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication, and you can have ideas all day and feel that entrepreneurial spirit. That doesn't mean you're supposed to run a business. Yeah,
it doesn't. And maybe you're capable of it, but there's a huge difference between having great ideas and executing on them.
Yes, execution. Wow.
Huge. Yeah, it's like, sorry for anyone out there who considers himself an idea person, but I don't really value people who consider themselves idea people.
Yeah.
When they're not also pairing that with an ability to execute that in some way. It's like I'm an idea person. I could come up with 100 ideas if you give me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But the difference between that and actually doing the thing is night and day. It's not even the same type of thing. So it's like people will give me great ideas all the time and I'm like, that's cool. Like, what are you going to do about it? Even my employees, for example, it's like we have a pizza of the month, right? Like we give our employees an opportunity if they want to create a pizza of the month, they can do that. And we've had several of them take us up on that, where it's like, some of them will sometimes be like, oh, I have this idea, we should do this ingredient and that ingredient, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, great. Get the ingredients, bring them in the shop, test it out. Let's taste it. Let's try it out. And they have to take the initiative. We don't do it for them.
Good.
They have to take that initiative. So we're teaching them to understand, there's a difference between having a great idea and actually making it tangible, actually making it real. And it's like, hey, we're here to support you and we'll meet you halfway, but we need you to take that initiative and learn how to take that and put it into a real world, tangible thing.
Yeah. It's totally different. And I think of myself as an idea person too. Like people will come to me with things and I'm like, let's spitball on it for a few minutes and I can take it in a bunch of directions for you, but none of these ideas are mine to do anything with. So do whatever you want with them. Here you go. Like, I'll give you ideas all day long, but I can come up with products and businesses and models and like an operational person. Let's go. But none of these ideas are mine to do anything with. And if you want to do something with them, feel free. I just gave it to you. Have fun.
Yep. Yeah. Coming up with great ideas is typically not the limiting factor.
Right.
It's how do you execute on it, and how do you execute on it well.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Which I think is also why I'm so drawn to like coaching, and even more specifically like mentoring. I've mentored a number of people over the last 5+ years. You know, as I was growing my business and learning the things and making lots of mistakes, I also was, you know, meeting people who were maybe a couple steps behind me in certain ways. And I love guiding people and just like helping them, supporting them, offering them, you know, some wisdom, some reflections, and helping them to figure out for themselves the path forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's all these great ideas are great. And, you know, how are you actually paving a path for yourself? How you're actually, you know, taking the steps you need to take each day to create something that is going to last and that is actually like meaningful and matters to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, to me, I get a lot of joy and fulfillment out of like supporting people in that way, where it's like I have a few things to offer and I actually see them, take them, and apply them. That's how I kind of gauge also, you know, who is worthwhile for me to invest some of that type of energy into, is like, did this person actually take this thing that I shared with them, that we came to, and do something with it? Otherwise, I'm probably going to not want to keep pouring my energy into you. But if I see you actually like growing and applying these things, like cool, like that feels good to me. I love paying it forward, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really one thing that makes me highly respect someone, is if they really are a doer in that way, and like an implementer and an integrator. Like they're here to actually take these things and apply them.
Yeah. That's a difference. It's like when you have that one friend who always asks for advice with her crappy boyfriend or his crappy girlfriend or whatever it is, their partner. And you're like, well, you know, this isn't great. Maybe you should talk about, and then they never do anything with the advice. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say coaching, because I know you've mentored, coached some people in our, we have in our spheres. And I definitely feel that same type of thing. I think that's a big part of why we do the podcast, just to sort of put out there a lot of things that, you know, these are things we've come across. Maybe they're helpful to you. Check it out. See what you think.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a big part of that for us. I've thought about some of this personal coaching stuff, and I'm like, we'll see. It's not the right time to do it right now, but maybe in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I love just the opportunity to just like pay it forward and just like share value with no expectation, and just like, you know, I hope someone listens to this episode and gets something out of it, and maybe they are inspired to take action in some way that maybe before they were kind of on the edge about. It's like, hopefully this pushes someone over the edge. You know, if I can positively affect, you know, one person, then it's totally worth the effort and the time and the resources it took to put it together. Also for actually, I'm trying to move away from the word selfish to self-full. Okay. For self-full reasons, I get full having these conversations, and I learn something from them, and I get to share. Hopefully, my guest gets something out of it, and we both feel great. You know, we're better off having had the conversation than not. Yeah. And we come out the other side feeling elevated in some way. And then if at least one other person who's watching, then it was worth putting it out too.
Absolutely. Yes. I always have a great time chatting with you. So I don't know how anybody could have a bad time listening.
Right? We're fun people. Like, we're not boring people.
We're fun, darn it. We work all day, all night sometimes, but we are fun. We used to be fun people, and we're getting back to it. Yeah.
I'm into that. Yeah, that's definitely the phase I'm at right now.
Yeah. I'm getting back to it. I took a vacation last year. I did some things. I'm excited to be back into being like more than just a little worker bee in every aspect. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Well, any kind of last thoughts coming up, or topics or things you wanted to share as we kind of move towards wrapping up pretty soon?
I think along the lines of, if anybody else has done it, so can you. I would also like to asterisk that for any women or men or people of color, just because you haven't seen someone look like you do the thing doesn't mean you can't. I think there's a lot of underrepresented demographics in certain industries. And just because you haven't seen someone like you do the thing doesn't mean you can't. And you should still go out there and try.
Yeah. I love that.
Like, don't wait for someone to do it before you, I guess. Feel free to be the first to do it. Yeah. Don't limit yourself in any way. If you have that desire, this is what I say. I don't recommend the path of entrepreneurship for everyone. Right.
But those who it is for, on some level, you have that seed inside of you, that seed of desire. And for me, that's the only prerequisite. Everything else, you can figure it out. You can learn it. You can get support.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the best at everything. But it's either you have the seed or you don't have it. Either that is your dream or it's not. Either that is your desire or it's not.
Yeah.
And it's okay to explore even. Maybe you're not even totally sure, but if you have a curiosity, that's a good indicator that there's probably something there for you. So I think just to kind of reflect back and add one piece to what you said, it's like if you have that curiosity, if you have that desire to whatever it is you want to create, start, like just get started.
Yeah.
Just take a few steps and don't doubt that. It doesn't matter who's done it before you or who hasn't or what it looks like or what's typical. Like,
right.
I totally echo that statement. Like I had no business being in the pizza business. Like I had zero experience in the industry. It's like I had to learn everything from scratch. Nobody around me runs restaurants. It doesn't like run in my family or anything like that. Yeah. I just knew it was for me for some reason, even though it didn't make any logical sense. Yeah. Like deep intuition, like I knew that this was a path for me and that I couldn't not follow it. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I think our lives are sort of, I'm a puzzle nerd. I love puzzles. Like bigger the better jigsaw puzzles. I'm like 1,000-piece puzzle. I'm like, yes. I did a 2,000-piece puzzle right when COVID hit, when everything just kind of stopped for me. I'm like, I got to go get a puzzle. But I think our lives are sort of like a puzzle and it's not done. Like it's not the puzzle that comes out of the box and you're putting it together. It's you get to create it. So if there's something out there that you're curious about and you want to know about, go make that puzzle piece and fit it into your puzzle. And at the end, I hope you can look back and see a picture that you're excited by. Like, I hope you look back and go, that's cool. Like, no one gets to the end of their life and goes, gosh, I wish I worked more. Like, geez, I wish I spent more time at the office versus with my family or friends. I mean, put a picture together of your life. Like, it's kind of like, you get to write your own story. It's write something you're excited about and you look back on and you go, wow, I did all the things. I did a lot of the things or all of the things I really wanted to do and then some. And look at all these cool things that splashed into my life because I sought out X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, how do you live a life where you look back and say, I'm so glad that I took those risks. I'm so glad that I had the courage to follow the voice that I heard deep inside of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Wow.
I'm all about it.
Well, thanks, Mandi. Thanks for coming on. It was super fun, as always. It is to chat with you and connect.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing about your journey and your business and your podcast and all of that. And, wishing you well on your continued journey dating.
Thanks.
A beautiful human. And, thanks for being here. I'll link your information in the show notes so that if people want to get in contact with you, any custom vegan dessert orders for anyone in the Phoenix area, definitely hit up Mandi. I think my brother got a birthday cake for my nephew recently. Is that right?
Yeah, he did something that looked like a snake, like a big boa constrictor, I think. Or a python. I forget which one it was. I'm not a snake person. But yeah, they did it at some little joint up north that has reptiles and all.
Oh, yeah,
I'm forgetting the term for that.
It's a
section
weird
of science.
Yeah, it's a weird name. I forget it.
Too, but it was fun. It was cool making a big old cake for them, for him. Yeah, and I'm, if you want to follow along the journey, definitely check out my baking page because I have plans to take it into some new places this year.
Cool. Well, I personally am excited to check that out a little bit more too.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. And thanks everyone who listened. Appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you got something valuable out of tuning in. If not, hopefully you had fun with us either way. And Yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.